Okay. Hello, gentlemen. How are you today?
Very well, thank you.
Good to see you. Great to hear. Clive, let's start with you because, first of all, I love this film and I am not a science nerd. So I have to say to everybody out there, you don't have to be a science nerd to really enjoy this movie, I have to say. And Clive, for you, your life work is with infernos, with volcanoes. What was it for you? What was it like exploring meteors? Because obviously your expertise is not in meteors.
Well, first I must confess, I did start out as a science nerd. I used to go to calculator shops when I was about 16, but well, here I am now. The topic of meteorites, it takes you in many directions. Thinking about the meaning of meteors in the night sky for peoples around the world, the cultural significance of meteorites such as the Black Stone at the Grand Mosque in Mecca, and of course the scientific meaning. They tell us about our origins. They may tell us about our destiny.
Yeah, it's so fascinating. And Werner, for you, first off, I want to commend your voiceover technique. Wonderful. I loved listening to your voice in this film. And I wanted to know, you have traveled the world. You have been everywhere pretty much. It's insane. And in this film in particular, you both get to go to such fantastic places. What was the location that really stood out for you and maybe where you learned the most about the meteors?
I would say, first of all, my voice, you always have to bear in mind that it's the content of the voice that makes it peculiar. Okay. So, of course, and it's a stylized, a staged, I speak more clearly, I speak more pronounced. The most interesting place for me was not a location anywhere out there in Antarctica or Australia, you just name it, but Princeton University about quasi-crystals, a form of crystals that is unthinkable, impossible, for centuries proven impossible. And in the mind of a scientist and mathematics, it is proven to be right. And they go out to Siberia and find a meteorite where it was carried from outer space to us. So this exotic matter that shouldn't exist exists in nature. It exists out in space. Yeah, so it's a voyage of the mind. And as a matter of fact, I don't like traveling.
You don't like traveling, but you travel so much. So this lockdown must have been a blessing for you then.
In a way, yes, I do writing and I write poetry and prose, but traveling per se, it's awful to travel long distance with 9 hours time difference and being thrown in a different culture from one day to the next. So it's awful, but the films somehow required it.
Absolutely.
We don't travel light either. There are 20 odd flight cases of film equipment. So it's when you get onto smaller and smaller aircraft heading somewhere like Mer Island in the Torres Strait, it is quite challenging being on the road.
Yeah, I loved the scenes in Antarctica. I don't want to give away anything because it's extraordinary part of the film. Clive, you look like you're a kid in a candy store in this film, honestly.
No, I mean, there were so many thrills. I'm glad you didn't ask me to pick out a scene. I was thrilled in the candy store of the meteorite vault at Arizona State University, and even more thrilled to be walking across the blue ice in Antarctica hunting for meteorites, and so many other things. I mean, discovering these micrometeorites that a jazz musician in Norway, of all people, has discovered on the roof of commercial and industrial buildings all around the world. So it was a journey, a very fascinating journey with many thrills.
But I think it's not a kid in the candy store. It's a deep curiosity, a deep sense of awe. Yeah. And without this curiosity and awe, cinema wouldn't function and science wouldn't function. So that's why we believe, as the film is not didactic, it's not like a school book. Yeah. It will hopefully trigger in the mind of young kids to become a scientist.
Absolutely. Oh, I think so for sure. Clive, I want to know, you two are such a great team. It's great that you've reunited to do this. Why does it work so well between the two of you? And what is it like to travel with Werner?
I think it works well because, you know, we do have contrasting skill sets, but we both know exactly what we're after. And so we divide up tasks. We are contributing to it at every stage. You know, I'll read an interesting paper and I'll ping it over to Werner, and we'll think about how that theme might fit within the overall narrative arc of the movie. Traveling with Werner, you know, we're of course we're doing our work professionally. We do have some downtime in restaurants.
Yeah.
And on planes, and we have a lot of laughs along the way. So it's a joy to travel together.
And Clive is a well-seasoned traveler, and I would like to point out one thing: in Australia, in the desert, it's very dusty, and we decided that the sensitive materials, the camera, sound equipment, should sleep, quote unquote, in a tent. We would sleep outside in the sand. So,
wow.
And there's no problem to persuade Clive to that.
If you look at the two of us in the film, you can see that we've slept outside in the sand for 2 or 3 nights before shooting.
Well, I have to say, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I learned so much. It was just wonderful. Please keep them coming, you two. And Werner, you know, seriously, I think these things make you stay young. Keep at it. I can't wait for your next collaboration with your son, which was just announced. That's going to be great. And thank you to the both of you for this wonderful documentary. It's just fantastic. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Stay safe and don't break a leg.
I will not. You too. You too. Thanks, guys. Thank you.